It is the Super Bowl of weather.
Bring out the bicycles and springtime toys!
All hail Groundhog supremacy!
On the second day of February each year, the groundhog gets its moment, especially this little guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Punxsutawney Phil!
He's the world's most famous groundhog, and he makes his prediction of when winter will end every year in front of thousands of fans at a big party in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Phil makes his guess based on whether he sees his shadow. If he does, it's 6 more weeks of winter. If not, we're in for an early spring. The roots of Groundhog Day are centuries old. February 2nd is known as Candlemas Day, when Christians would take out their candles to church to have them blessed, and this would bring blessings to their homes for the rest of winter. This traditional belief made its way to Germany, and that's where the lore got its very first mascot, a hedgehog. The Germans believed this little guy could predict the weather, and as German settlers moved to the States, so did the belief. The problem was there were hardly any hedgehogs in America. Groundhogs, on the other hand, well, there were a lot of them, and the mighty groundhog became the face of the lore. The first official Groundhog Day celebration was in 1887, and it eventually turned into a whole thing.
Who's thinking spring?
Nowadays, Phil is always surrounded by a bunch of guys in top hats and tuxedos. They're called the Inner Circle, also known as Punxsutawney Phil's hype guys.
You have to understand something. There are 2 entities in the world that are infallible, the Pope and Punxsutawney Phil.
Phil will tell his prediction to the president of the Inner Circle, who is supposedly the only person who understands Phil's language, called Groundhogese. This is more of a body language. He might communicate with just a little wink. The vice president then pulls out one of 2 scrolls, each with a different prediction, and tells everyone the news.
There is no shadow of me, a beautiful spring it shall be!
Now the Groundhog Day party has become a tradition in places all over North America, each with their own version of Punxsutawney Phil. There's Staten Island Chuck, Buckeye Chuck, Jimmy the Groundhog, Dunkirk Dave, and in Canada, there's Wired and Willie, Shubenacadie Sam, and Balzac Billy. So how often are groundhogs right anyway? Phil's track record is actually pretty terrible. He's right about 40% of the time, meaning you're better off flipping a coin. But this might be a case of broken telephone.
Phil's predictions are always 100% correct. However, some people think he's wrong. Most likely our president has misinterpreted what Phil had predicted in the first place.
Whatever the case may be, people are just hoping to hear some good news.
Everybody's looking for some way to alleviate that feeling of being miserable all the time, and Groundhog Day does that for us.
That's reason enough for many people to give the spotlight to these furry forecasters just once a year. Thanks for watching Global News. If you want to stay up to date on the latest breaking national and international news, be sure to subscribe to our channel.